Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi Thorn Alliance. And in today's live stream, we are doing a versus for streaming services. So before we do that, what have you been watching lately, Lou?
Most recently, so I just started watching Palm Royale on Disney Plus. Sorry, not Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, which at first I didn't think I liked it, but then it's getting better and better. So I'm really starting to enjoy that. So I'm halfway through that. Fallout, a couple of movies. Halfway through Unfrosted, which is the new Netflix original surrounding the kind of fictional story of how the Pop-Tart was invented, which it's very, very silly. 3/4 the way through watching the new Dracula movie on Amazon Prime, which is, again, a bit strange, but I'm going to finish it because I've got to complete my 100 movies this year, so I've got to get through those. That's about it. What have you been watching?
Just recently watched Dark Matter, what is also on Apple TV Plus. There's 2 episodes that just recently streamed on Wednesdays, and first impressions is that it has the potential to be one of the best shows of the year, and it can go anywhere.
Yeah, so we reacted to the trailer of that, and I think it looks pretty interesting. So I wasn't aware it was coming out so soon, so yeah, I'll have to give that a watch. Anything coming out soon you're looking forward to?
I will be watching the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie this weekend, and very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. I also still want to see Civil War. I've been really excited about seeing that movie, and I'd like to watch Fall Guy a second time. So really enjoyed that.
Oh, a second time?
Yeah, that's my favorite movie I've seen this year so far. So I'd like to see that a second time, I think.
Okay,
so let's get into our streaming battle. So we've created a little competition chart.
Yeah.
So what we've got, we picked 8 streaming services. Some of them aren't necessarily available in Australia, but we do get to see their content through a different name. A lot of them fall under Disney Plus here. So we've got Paramount Plus versus Netflix in the first battle, and then Apple TV Plus versus Peacock in the other quarterfinal. On the other side of the draw, we've got Prime versus HBO Max, and then we've got Hulu versus Disney Plus. So what we're going to do is we're each going to vote which is our preferred, and if there's a tie, we'll flip a coin. But that may not happen. So let's go first. The first battle, we've got Disney Plus versus Netflix. So we made a list of some of our favorite shows from each of those. So for Netflix, what did you put, Jacob?
I put Midnight Mass, The Ozarks, and Arcane League of Legends.
Yeah, and I put I Think You Should Leave, which is a comedy series I really like, Cobra Kai, and then I put 13 Reasons Why, and I added Big Mouth. I put 4, and I was a bit cheeky with that one. And then for Paramount Plus, we've got, you might be able to tell who's probably going to win this. What did you put for Paramount Plus?
1923, Dex the New Blood, and the third
Rabbit Hole.
Rabbit Hole.
And I could only think of 2. I've gone with South Park and Beavis and Butthead, which aren't really even their properties. They are now, but they are long-running shows that now have been absorbed by Paramount Plus. So arguments are both. Which do you think has the better? Which has the best content overall?
Netflix.
I agree. If you could only keep one, what would it be?
Netflix.
And
if I had Netflix.
And out of the 2, which has the most exciting things coming out?
I don't know what's coming out of Netflix, but I would probably say Netflix.
So who are you voting for out of this one?
I would say Netflix.
I'm going to go the same. I do like Paramount Plus a little bit, but it's not something I would pay for. It doesn't have quite enough there. So we're going to cross off Paramount Plus off the list, and Netflix moves through to the next round. Okay, in our next battle, we've got Apple TV Plus versus Peacock. So what have you got from Apple TV Plus that you like?
I got Severance, Blackbird, and Silo.
Very, very strong shows. I've gone to be a little bit different somewhat. I've gone Ted Lasso, Morning Wars, but I also went with Blackbird. For Peacock for us is not a streaming service we access. We get their content through either Amazon Prime or through Stan, or sometimes Binge as well. So it's a mixed lot for us. So what did you put for Peacock?
Based on a true story, Poker Face, and One of Us is lying. The third one is there just because I needed a third one. So.
Yeah, we both don't love that show.
Yes.
I've gone with Bumper in Berlin, based on a true story, and Ted, the live action, or the TV series that is the prequel to the movies. So, which one out of those, with the three in mind, has the best content? Just quickly looking at it.
Apple TV Plus.
Yeah. Out of the two, which one has the most content?
Probably Apple, but I believe Peacock have decent things as well.
I think Peacock probably have a lot of classics or legacy shows that Apple TV don't. Apple TV are just all original content.
Yeah.
So that leads me to ask, out of the two, which one is the winner, and would you be willing to pay for, and which one would you not pay for and is kicked out of this film?
Well, I already paid for Apple, so definitely Apple.
I'm going to go the same. I think Apple TV has really good content. It doesn't have a whole lot, but everything makes things be quality. So we've got Peacock exiting and Apple TV Plus progressing to the semi-final to versus Netflix.
That'll be interesting.
On the other side of the draw, we now move to Prime versus HBO Max. So HBO Max we get via Binge here in Australia, and some are on Disney Plus, so it's a bit of an interesting one, but it does have some pretty good content. Amazon Prime is at the moment kind of killing it with content, movies and TV shows. So let's go with Amazon Prime. What have you got as you listed as your favorite things on Amazon Prime at the moment?
Amazon Prime, The Boys, Invincible, and the Fallout series. I will contradict myself. I know I have only seen one episode of Fallout, and I have watched Ted, but the first episode of Fallout does go for 115 minutes. I think that's a fair amount of time to judge if something's good or not.
Yeah, you've watched a bit of it. I've seen most of it too, and we've also, you've seen the reviews and heard other people talk about it. So there's a lot of traction there. I've gone also with Fallout, The Boys, and I like Clarkson's Farm, which is on Amazon Prime, and I also like all the what do they call it? So it used to be Top Gear, but now they do their specials, things like Grand Touring. I really like those that come out on Amazon Prime. So, again, as I said, we don't have HBO Max, so it's going to be a hard one to compare it. But out of the two, which one is the standout for you? Prime or HBO Max?
What shows we choose on HBO Max?
Oh, HBO Max. So, what I put Curb Your Enthusiasm, which again is a property they've absorbed, but what didn't start on there. Love and Death and Righteous Gemstones, which are really strong. I actually quite like these shows. And you've gone with?
Peacemaker, The Last of Us, and Winning Time.
It's a tricky one because those are very, very strong shows for both of us. And then we've got Prime. Okay, for you, what's the winner out of those?
This is actually a very hard decision, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to go. If I had to choose one, I know we don't get HBO Max, but I'm thinking Prime Video.
You're going Prime Video? I'm thinking HBO Max. I think based on those and what I've seen HBO Max do have in America, I would like to see HBO Max have more of them. So this is where we have our first tie. So I don't have a coin available. Do we do scissors, paper, rock?
Okay.
Okay, you ready? Scissors, paper, rock. You win. So Amazon Prime goes through. HBO Max, no more. Okay, in our next battle, we've got Hulu and Disney Plus. And Hulu, we kind of get through Disney Plus. And you can see a trend here in Australia. Disney Plus is like the king. It has everything. So it's like, but for the sake of this, we've kind of limited Disney Plus to just Disney, Pixar, and Marvel properties and Star Wars, which still it has a whole lot there. So for Hulu, I put Only Murders in the Building, which is on Disney Plus here. The Bear, which is on Disney Plus in Australia. And It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is also on Disney Plus here in Australia. So we've kind of got them versing each other. And what have you got?
For Hulu, I got Only Murders in the Building, Only Murders
Murder at the End of the World.
World, and
Dope Sick. And then for Disney Plus, what did you put?
Loki, WandaVision, and Endor.
I've gone with Loki, Spidey and His Amazing Friends, and High School Musical, the musical series. So Disney Originals. Tough one here because we don't have Hulu here, but the shows that are listed on there are probably 3 of my favorite shows to get around. Yeah. But there are also some that they're unavailable on other streaming services here, or they actually are on Disney Plus. So for that reason, I'm going to pick Disney Plus because the 3 shows that I like on Hulu are in fact on Disney Plus. For me, I can watch them on Disney Plus. So Disney Plus is all, every single one of those shows is Disney Plus for me. What about yourself? Which one are you voting for?
I'm going Disney Plus.
No more Hulu. Disney Plus goes through to the semi-final against Prime. Okay, moving on to the semi-final on the other side of the draw. There's a quick update. We've got Netflix versus Apple TV. So we kind of know the shows that are on it, so maybe look a bit deeper into the question. So which one out of these 2 has the most content?
Netflix.
Netflix got the most. Which one out of the 2 is the best value?
I believe Netflix, you can do monthly for $8. What with Apple TV Plus, they do like a yearly subscription.
Netflix can be fairly cheap if you're willing to pay for ads. They pay to, like, willing to have ads, which I do, and that's kind of the only reason I've been keeping Netflix going, because it's actually really affordable. When all the others are getting more expensive, they've found a way to lower the cost. Which one has the most exciting content coming out?
I would say Apple.
I'm agreeing with that. I don't really know too much about what's coming out of Netflix. Historically, which have the best shows? So you've listed on Apple TV. What was your favorite show on Apple TV so far?
Severance, Blackbird, and The Silo.
And then the best Netflix shows you had, like
Arcane, League of Legacy, Ozarks, and Midnight Mass.
I'm leaning towards Apple TV. I think Netflix is better value. I think Netflix actually has a lot more content, but Apple TV Plus is more exciting. I think I'm looking forward to what it's got, the potential, and definitely the things it's brought out more recently have been great. I think Netflix, we were talking about this before, they were looking at all the shows we liked that Netflix had, and we found that they all had they kind of got to season 3 or 4, and then they just they just threw everything out the window and they got bad. And I actually am sick of seeing that with Netflix. And
they cancel things.
So I'm voting Apple TV Plus. Where are you going?
Apple TV Plus.
Oh, Netflix bows out early. If we were to go value for money, I would say Netflix wins every day of the week.
Content.
It's $6.99 Australian, and the amount of catalogue of content. If you had to pick one streaming service, I think Netflix is a no-brainer. But we're talking about which is the best quality, which one we're most excited about, which one we're liking the most at the moment, and Apple TV Plus makes it to the final. Other semi-final, we've got Prime and Disney Plus. So similar questions. Which one has the most content?
Disney Plus.
In Australia, Disney Plus is king, as he said. It's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Which one has the most stuff coming out that you're excited about?
I guess Disney Plus because of the Star Wars show, but I guess they're kind of equal.
Disney, well, I guess for me, I think of Prime, we've got season 2 of Fallout coming out at some point, and looking forward to
The Boys.
But beyond that, I don't know what else is coming out. Disney Plus, it's kind of infinite. We know that they've got the Star Wars properties, we've got the Marvel properties. That could go on for the rest of our lives with more new content. So it's hard to not be excited about that. In terms of value for money, Prime's a funny one. Most people pay for Prime through getting an Amazon subscription, which includes, free shipping and music and audiobooks. So it's actually really good value. But Disney itself is actually really cheap as well. Ignoring all the Prime stuff, if I had to pay for one, I'd pay for Disney and not Prime. Because up until recently, I watched nothing on Prime.
Yeah.
Prime, at the moment, it's bringing out movies I'm enjoying and some new shows. But prior to that, I watched nothing on Prime. So
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Disney Plus. Where are you going?
From all the shows and everything, I would probably say Disney Plus.
So that leaves Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus, the battle of the pluses.
Yeah.
So which is the most popular? Okay, so this one. So best. What's the best show on Apple TV Plus? You said Severance.
There's Severance, Blackbird, and Silo.
Okay, so best ongoing series, Severance, you reckon?
Yes.
I would say I haven't finished Severance, but I've heard great things and I've seen quite a bit of it. But I will get back into it. For me, Ted Lasso is my favorite Apple TV Plus ongoing show. It's finished now, but it had 5 seasons or 4 seasons or something, so it's ongoing. Blackbird's a limited series, probably the best limited series I've seen. Disney Plus obviously has quite a lot of limited series as well. What about potential for content?
Both pretty good.
They are, but when we think about Apple TV, they own their properties, so I guess they can be quite profitable in that. They're now kind of delving into this. We'll make movies and we'll put them at the cinemas, and then after a while we'll bring them. It's kind of a weird model, which Disney does the same, but they bring up big movies that like warrant this big screen. Like they're not going to release the next Avengers movie on Disney Plus. Like they're going to send that to the cinemas. And then I guess that's a big part of Disney because it brings in such big properties. They bring out a blockbuster film and then it becomes on their streaming service. Where Apple TV, the biggest film they brought out is probably Napoleon. People said that's a flop. I'm looking forward to Fly Me to the Moon. It's coming out. I don't know. I think Apple TV, has potential and it's doing well, but Disney Plus is it's just buying up properties. It's combining itself with HBO Max. It's buying up Hulu. It's combining FX. It's got shows like, for me, The Bear, which I think is so good. Like, it's just, I'm leaning towards Disney Plus. I think Apple TV's got a lot of exciting stuff, but we know what Apple TV do. They give things like 3 seasons max. It's just their thing. And they move on to a new project, and sometimes you want a bit more than that. So I'm going to put my vote towards Disney Plus. Give me your arguments for both.
I would say when it comes to show content, I think Apple TV Plus wins. But when it comes to providing content, having shows, everything, I think Disney Plus wins. I think the free shows Apple TV Plus has, even though I'm a big Marvel fan, are actually better than the shows what Disney Plus has.
Okay, so you think that Severance is better than Star Wars Endor?
Yes. Even though I'm a big Star Wars fan, but Severance has more creative, it's more unique. It's just
given that they go for unique new properties where or Disney Plus, it's pretty easy to continue with Star Wars. It's got a fan base. You bring out something and people are they're gonna love it or hate it, but you've already kind of got that world built. I guess unfairly, as I said, Disney absorbed all that Marvel stuff.
Yes.
That stuff wasn't made for streaming. That stuff was made for the big screen, where Apple TV are now delving into that. But I don't know. I've always said if I had to pay for one streaming service and one only, I think I could survive with Disney Plus. I think it has so much content and lots of new stuff. And then beyond that, it's also family friendly. Does Apple TV have any kids shows? It's got some animated shows, but I think they're kind of like adult animation. So Disney Plus is kind of family friendly, kid family friendly, a lot more content. I don't know. I'm going to vote Disney Plus. Where are you going?
I'm thinking Apple TV Plus.
Apple TV Plus. I guess we scissors, paper, rock to see who wins.
Okay.
Scissors, paper, rock. Scissors, paper, rock.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. So
not a bad decision.
I think they're both fine. I like them both. I'm in favor of Disney Plus just because I think it's got a larger backlog catalog of things you can watch. I think if I went on to Apple TV Plus right now, there is a few shows I want to watch, but I reckon in a week I could binge them. Then that's it. And I'm waiting around for a while. How long until season 2 of Severance comes out? I feel like you're waiting a long time for content where Disney is absorbing content, and so I don't know. I think Disney's got a lot more potential.
I think that's why Apple TV Plus, I've noticed they're starting to head towards the weekly trend with their shows. What Disney Plus, I don't think do as much because they know they have more content.
It's interesting too because neither of these companies, their their money maker isn't their streaming service. That's not their main product. If you ask Disney what they do, theme parks, they're considered a theme park company. Their theme parks are their biggest thing. Their shows and movies are like side projects, but they're not. That's where they make their money. They buy up sporting teams. Disney's would have to be in the top 5 biggest companies in the world. Look at Apple. I think Apple is the biggest company in the world. These companies are so full of money. So I guess that's promising in terms of where they can go. You look at things like Netflix, that's all they do. They just they are a streaming service, and they don't have any other revenue streams. So they've got to find ways to make money. Where if Apple TV isn't successful tomorrow, the Apple itself makes enough money to keep it going. And I think that's what kind of helped in the beginning with Apple TV, because you're like, no one's paying for this. They almost gave it out for free to almost anyone.
Yeah.
And you're like, how are they going to make money off this? But they don't have to. They're just putting it out there. And which is kind of cool. So, and then obviously Amazon, I think, is now catching up. That's going to be the third in line for me. And again, Amazon's a shipping company, top 2 or 3 biggest companies in the world. So these companies that are succeeding, they're having success in other avenues, and then they're putting it into their streaming service, where I think Netflix is going to die off. I don't know how it can compete with the other ones. And as you see, these other streaming services like Hulu, Peacock, HBO Max, they're just going to get absorbed. Disney's just going to buy them. They're just going to take them. Apple doesn't seem to be interested in buying other things. They just want original content because, they pay their actors for doing the roles, and then that's it. They make money forever off that. You buy a show like Always Sunny in Philadelphia off Fox or FX, you're paying royalties forever on that as long as you want to show it. Where Apple TV aren't doing that. They're like, we'll just make it. We'll come up with our new idea. We'll spend $50 million on it, and then that's it. We'll make money from then on. So promising stuff. Anything else you want to talk about in this live stream?
I guess, do you feel like the Fallout show could be a good point for other shows that are TV shows to kind of follow the example of the Fallout show? Or do you feel like they should follow The Last of Us example? Which example for game TV shows would you like them to follow their example for Fallout or The Last of Us?
Okay, so I guess you're implying that Fallout, they've gone with new original story based in the world of the game, where The Last of Us has just followed the game.
Yeah.
I guess it really depends on the game. I think I've played The Last of Us, and where I haven't played Fallout. And Fallout, I guess I can see what they do. Their games don't, follow on. They're kind of mixed matched over, but they're built in this Fallout world. So I think that show works. You're already used to this concept of this is inside the world of Fallout. So one's in Las Vegas and one can be in California, like whatever. We're used to that. Long as we have the same kind of trends, you've got ghouls, you've got, the Brotherhood, you've got all these, you've got the Titan looking things. They've got that sort of stuff. Where The Last of Us, I think that is famous for having Ellie and Joel. I think if you don't have Ellie and Joel in it, people just go, well, this is just a zombie show. Like, we've already got that. We've got The Walking Dead that's bored people to death through making season after season, spin-off after spin-off. We don't need another zombie show. So that kind of, it had to be that way. So I think, to answer your question, definitely depends on the show. It depends on the game, the type of game. So I don't know. What are some examples of games that could be turned into shows, you think?
Assassin's Creed.
See, they made a movie of that. I think Assassin's Creed, that would need to, that again, kind of, it's like a world. You understand this idea of, and I'm probably wrong about this because I don't know everything about Assassin's Creed. I haven't played them all. They have some kind of machine that through DNA lets you go back and experience the memories of
your ancestor.
Yeah. So through that, they could do that around anything. And that's how the games have been, One's set in like the world of pirates, one's in ancient Egypt, one's in Rome, one's in, medieval times. So that could work. You create a show, you pick any time era and it works. They could make one where they go back to like the American Civil War for all that matters. So that would work. And I don't really think is there any reoccurring characters inside Assassin's Creed?
Just Edmund, I believe his name is, but he passes away in Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, so I think Assassin's Creed would do that. It would, or they could remake one of the particular games. If they said people love the pirate one, Black Flag, they could make a show on that. But I think they'd be better off picking a new time era, or even that, because it's kind of like an open world game that I'm guessing there is some kind of like sequence of like main events that happen, but it's a lot of like side quests and things like that. It probably wouldn't work as a show where like The Last of Us is very clear. It's like not open world. You're kind of like told where you need to go and you can only go so far and open so many doors. So that it's got a very set storyline. So I think there's no correct answer. I think it depends on the show.
What video game would you like to be made into a TV show?
What games do I like? Well, we've already had The Last of Us made.
Uncharted?
We got the movie of Uncharted, and I didn't hate it, but it wasn't the game.
No.
They went a different direction and was kind of like a prequel.
Yeah.
In a way, but then it didn't quite line up with the game. So maybe not delve into Uncharted again. Other favorite game, I really enjoy Spider-Man games, but we've already got Spider-Man movies. We don't have one with Miles Morales yet, though, so that could be cool. Obviously, there's been like a spin-off to the Spider-Man games where you played as Miles Morales, and then they've made Spider-Man 2 where you mix between the two. So that could work, like something around Miles Morales, but yeah, that's Spider-Man's popular already. Other games I really liked. I've recently played the Black Plague game. I think that would be weird as a show.
Having to look after your brother all the time.
Yeah, and dealing with the rats. I don't think there's enough popularity. I don't know. I think games and movies and shows should kind of be separate. There's some things where, if there's enough fandom, you do it, but I don't feel like I need to have them come to life. They made a World of Warcraft movie. I never saw it, never played the game, but I heard bad things. If you want to say Dungeons and Dragons is a game, it is a game, but it's not a video game, but they made a movie adaptation to that. And that went with something unique and original.
Yeah.
And I quite liked that movie. I was imagining it was going to be about people playing Dungeons and Dragons and they kind of get sucked into the game, or it's in their imagination, like a Jumanji type thing, which it didn't do that, which is kind of cool. So it went a different direction. So I don't know. I can't think of any games that should be turned into movies or shows. Have you got any that come to mind?
Hmm. I think probably an open world sort of style video game like maybe Days Gone, but that would be like other zombie show.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like I like interest like the games I like are usually like sport or like not story based, so it doesn't really work. Maybe Helldiver could be turned into a game. That kind of feels like Fallout to me from what I've seen, like the way they have the gimmicky like trailers and videos to that. But I think Fallout's kind of the perfect one. Obviously, we've got the movie coming out for Borderlands, which I've never played the game, but the movie looks good to me. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So maybe they only work with properties that are kind of silly and fun. Because if you pick something too serious, it's hard to make it work, or people are going to be disappointed. But how can you be disappointed with Fallout and Borderlands when they're generally like kind of like silly in nature in a good way? Like the games are generally like fun, and you see really like outlandish things happen, so it works. Well, if you pick something too serious, I'm surprised they haven't made a Call of Duty movie yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that too.
I know there's lots and lots of war movies which are, they're essentially Call of Duty, but I'm surprised they haven't branded one as Call of Duty because there's so much fandom around it. So if you made one and said, oh yeah, this is the Call of Duty game, but then they just pick a storyline from a Call of Duty thing, people would probably go out and see it. But I feel like it's a pretty easy one to do. Pick a war story and then call it Call of Duty. In saying that, a lot of the Call of Duty games have cool campaigns and cool stories to them.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So yeah, maybe a Call of Duty thing could work. And I think with that, they would just have to go either a new story or pick like whatever the most popular Call of Duty campaign is and turn that into a movie.
Yeah.
Which, could work.
What are you still on the mind of thinking that you're still a person that prefers weekly or binge? What's your mindset when it's coming on that subject?
I don't know if I have a preference anymore. I don't think I watch things fast enough to make a difference. I think when something comes out weekly, I probably only get to watch one episode a week. And if it all got, dumped at once, it wouldn't make a difference either because I'd probably only watch it one episode per week anyway. So in terms of a money grab to try and get people to stay on a streaming service, it's kind of clever.
It is clever.
But I like the idea more of weekly because if you were following along, it gives you something to talk about. You're like, oh, that next episode's coming out. Did you see this? Did you see that? Where they dump it all at once. After the first day, you get people saying, oh, I've already watched it all. And like, oh, don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it for me. Where if it comes out weekly, you're less chance of having someone spoil it for you. If you're on the ball, you'll watch them as they come out. So I will stand by like weekly then. But it doesn't affect me too much, except for when people watch something before me and then they spoil it. So weekly that's less likely to happen. What about yourself?
I've noticed I still prefer binging, but I'm leaning towards weekly because I've been watching a lot of Apple TV shows and they do their weekly things. What is kind of nice because you get to watch a show that comes out Wednesday, what Dark Matter does, and then Sugar comes out Friday. You can kind of what I tend to do, I like to wait the extra week so you have 2 episodes to watch. So you kind of, instead of watching that one episode, you kind of give yourself more things to watch. So yeah,
it's nice to have something to look forward to. I think I think that's cool. Like I think of what's a show that Fallout they dumped all the episodes at once.
Yeah.
So there's people that would have been waiting out for Fallout for a long time, and then it gets released. They watch it all in like a day or 2, and then and then they're like, well, it's done. It's over. Like, wouldn't you like to just drag out that feeling for a bit longer? Like 1 episode this week, and you wait for the next, and it might take 8 weeks for them all to get released. But it dragged out that excitement for 8 weeks.
Mm.
Like you built up this thing for so long, waiting for it to come out, only to just watch it all in one hit. I would rather the dragging out the excitement. And, it's easy to pace things out when they come out weekly. And as you said, if you've got 3 or 4 shows that you were watching that are coming out weekly, you're like, oh, Tuesdays, this comes out. Wednesday, this comes out. And you got something to look forward to. And where if you're binge watching, you'll go, well, I need to finish Sugar first. And when that's finished, then I'll watch Dark Matter.
Yeah.
Where now you can watch them side by side and keep it going. Because, once you finish one, you're like, oh, well, I've got to wait 7 days for that episode to come out. Oh, there's a new episode of Dark Matter, so I'll watch that in the meantime. Where, if they all got dumped at the same time, would you watch all of Sugar first, and then would you watch all of Dark Matter, and you watch it in a row?
Well, that's what you would have to do.
Yeah, like I highly doubt you'd go, well, I'll watch episode 1 of Sugar, and then I'll watch episode 1 of Dark Matter, and then I'll go back to Sugar, and like in a night, you wouldn't do that. You'd binge watch one after the same show. So this kind of... But then on the flip side, you then can get confused if you're watching too much at once. But I like the weekly thing. I will stand by. I think it's a cool idea.
So what shows are you kind of in the interest in getting into? Because I know you've been watching, your goal this year is to watch 100 movies, but you got to, some shows have to interest you.
The only shows I think that seem to catch my eye, they've got a comedies or like... Not a murder mystery, but something that has a bit of like a mystery to it. It doesn't have to be a murder. It can be whatever. But I just don't have time for drama shows. Like, one that's about, a couple in distress or a family's fighting. Like it's got to have something more to it. So I started watching Palm Royale, and I didn't really know what it was about, but now it's very apparent that it's kind of like a mystery. There's something going on in this kind of like secret society. Fallout, there's a mystery. What's going on with the vaults? There's something to do with vault tech, I think it's got to have a mystery for me to be engaged. Otherwise I watch it, I'm like, I don't care about this anymore. Like I forced myself to watch the last season of Sex Education. Wokest, worst show I've ever seen. I'm not against being inclusive or equality, but this was like woke culture on steroids. It actually almost has the opposite effect. It makes you kind of dislike the people that they're trying to advocate for, which is not what it should be doing. You want it to advocate for someone and people to invoke change, but instead you're like, screw these people. Like this show has made me hate this group of people. And I don't hate them, but you know what I mean. It didn't elicit the feelings I think it wanted you to elicit. But it's that show. It didn't really have there's no mystery.
That wow factor.
There's nothing to look forward to. It was just like, I'm watching these people go through the motions, the drama. And I know people can say shows that have like a love story in it can be good, but I actually don't like, not that I don't like love or find those storylines interesting. I'm a bit over it because it's the same thing. It's like these two characters and you're like,
they don't talk.
Should they be together? Should they not be together? Like, I just want him to hurry up. Like, you have that Ross and Rachel thing from Friends, and I'm kind of over that storyline. Like, she likes him now, but he doesn't like her, and then when he likes her, she doesn't like him, and she's going to tell him how he feels, but then she walks in and he's kissing someone else, and it's like, I don't care about that stuff anymore. Life is not like that. I've never known anyone to be in scenarios like that where they're in love with someone else and that person's in love with this person. It's like, that's just not how the world works. And I'm over that. Like, I don't have time for that. So murder mysteries, I can deal with a bit of action. I don't mind an action. It's not my favorite genre, but at least it's got a thing. It's got a wow factor. So what about you? What are you interested in coming out? Or is there any particular genres you kind of gravitate towards? I'm
in agreement with you. I love my murder mysteries. It has to have that wow factor when it comes to why is it that story hook to keep you interested in wanting to watch it. And when Luke is describing shows that are drama just for the sake of having drama, I kind of don't want to watch those shows because we have plenty of shows out there to watch better shows. So the shows I'm watching at the moment, Sugar and Dark Matter, they have that wow factor, what you want to know more. And I think Sugar is a show that you would enjoy.
I do want to watch it, but yeah, there's got to be something that grips you. And for some reason, we live in a world where there is a million things to do. Like there's so many things to do. If you don't want to watch one streaming service, you turn on the next. You don't want to watch that, go play your PlayStation. You don't want to play your PlayStation, go outside. There's just so many things to do. We're in a fortunate place in the world where if something doesn't grip you instantly, it's like, I'll go do something else. And I know they know that. YouTube know that. They talk about retention rates. If you don't get people in the first 30 seconds, then you're not going to get them. So you've got to capture people straight away. And I think a murder mystery for me does that. I'm like, who did it? And you're watching the show and you're like, was it them? Was it them? You're trying to piece it together. And that doesn't.
Unless it's truth be told.
Yeah. But other people, they don't, that doesn't interest them. They're like, I don't care. I don't care who murdered the person. And that's fine. But that's what grips me. Some people are more gripped in like those stories of, oh, they're going to be together. Like, will he tell how it feels? That doesn't grip me. And that's a personal preference. But it's got to be something that grips you. I like a true story too. And I think that's because you can kind of know the ending first. And you're gripped of like, how did they get there? They won the gold medal at the Olympics, but how did they get to that point? You know, whatever it is. Or, you know, like, oh, this person, they went to jail for doing this. How did that happen? You know, like that for me is gripping. Like, it makes me think I kind of want to watch the I think it's a Netflix limited series with David Schwimmer about O.J. Simpson.
Oh, yes.
I kind of want to watch that now that O.J. Simpson's passed away. Because, I know what happened. I know he gets off. I know it's got something to do with, like, the glove didn't fit, so he couldn't have did it. Pretty much everyone says that he 100% did it. He shouldn't have got off. So I want to find out that story. Even though I know the ending, I'm gripped in knowing the ending, which makes me want to know the story that tells it. So yeah, shows have got to grip you, and I just can't seem to be gripped by drama. Just, you know, drama for the sake of it. I think of a show that's like, I guess, a kind of like a mystery show is like Gossip Girl or Pretty Little Liars, where it's like, who's Gossip Girl and who's A in Pretty Little Liars. Those shows just create unnecessary drama to try and make you think that there's a mystery, but really no one cares. Like, it's just rubbish, where I think a murder mystery can do other. So yeah, that murder mysteries seem to be the thing that grips me the most, or true stories, or a limited series is probably the best type. But I haven't seen too many limited series come out recently. Nothing that's caught my eye. So,
what's a good example of a murder mystery for you that nailed the aspect of a murder mystery that made sense, unlike Truth Be Told, that unfortunately with that show that they kind of didn't give you the evidence. They kind of, especially with season 2, it's like you felt cheated at the end with that show.
I think about season 1, and I really like that. And, you know, I think a murder mystery, the murderer needs to be someone that's available to choose from. I hate it when they get to the last episode and they're like, oh, it was this character. You hadn't seen him, like never seen them. Like, they had an evil twin sister and you didn't know. Like, I hate that shit. Like, the person needs to be one of the options, and then you've got to try and work out their motive. You know, like usually through every murder mystery, you have those moments you go, it has to be them. It's 100% them. And then suddenly twist, it's not. It's someone else. I like that. I don't mind that. Or if you know from the beginning, it's like, it was 100% the husband. I just don't know the motive yet. And then throughout the season, you start to work out the motive. Like, that's a cool mystery. Like, even if you see the murder take place and you know who it is from the start, a good murder mystery could still be, but why did they do it? Like, that can work. And I'm sure there's shows out there. I've probably seen one like that where you know the murderer from the get-go. It's just like, how did it happen? So I don't mind that. So that's kind of be that element. But when they chuck in a random character, or I think of season 2, Truth Be Told, where it was like random plot lines that really didn't have anything to do with the murder. They just wanted to kind of show this storyline. Like, this is her. She stole a book from this person. This person should be angry at her, but they weren't the murderer.
No.
And, she did this with her company. Oh, is that going to lead to something? No, it has nothing to do with the murder either. Oh, they're best friends and blah, blah, blah. And like, oh, the main character, her father's not really her father, or her mother's not really whatever it was. Oh, but that's not related either. And we'll chuck in that, you know, her like sister's going to jail or some shit. I can't remember what it was. Not relevant. Another character goes missing. They're not relevant to the murder. Like they just keep adding these storylines that don't have anything to do with the actual murder. It's like, why? Like, they're just creating drama. So it's got to be, the whole show needs to focus on the murder. The suspects have to be available and open from the beginning, and they need to get you thinking, well, was it this person? Was it that person? Like, I think what makes season 1, truth be told, so good is there is someone already in jail for this murder.
Yeah.
And they're saying, I did not do it. Please help me. And then you're watching the series going, but I think maybe he did do it. Maybe he did. Like, is he talking shit? And then you change who you think it could be, like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when it comes clear who it is, like, that was clever. That was a clever murder. Where it's like, there's got to be, it's got to grip you in. So I think that's a perfect example of a murder mystery. I like the one, I think ones where someone's been framed and then you're kind of on the fence for, did they do it or did they not do it? I think that's a good premise. Only Murders in a Building's a funny one because it's kind of like a mixed comedy thing.
Yeah, it is.
But it somehow works. Like, I really do think it works. I guess another interesting one is based on a true story.
Yes.
So, like, I wouldn't say that's a murder mystery because they may work out who the murderer is pretty soon, but it's the ongoing of, well, how do we monetize this and how do we
get famous?
Yeah, and how do we be friends with a serial killer and not know he's going to kill us? And you know, it's just different. It's a really unique product. So I think that will work too because it's a unique product. But yeah.
So what sort of mystery is Palm Royal kind of taking? Is it like we know something has happened? Is it going to be like a sort of thing that it shows different perspective, like after party, and then it reveals it at the end? Or
it hasn't done that yet. So how the show starts off, we've got Kristen Wiig, and she sneaks into the Palm Royale, which is like this exclusive, like, I guess it's a tennis club, a golf course, and like a social, like the wealthiest of the wealthy go there and hang out. She wants to be part of it. And you kind of, through the first episode, like, why does she want this world? She can't even afford it. Even if she was able to be part of this world, you know, you've got to pay $30,000 to join it and then $5,000 a month to keep your membership. And it's it's like she lives in a trailer park, kind of like a motel. You're like, why would she want that? So she sneaks in, and then it kind of comes a bit clearer that, you know, she wants to be part of that world, and it's because her husband was part of that world. He's from a wealthy family, but he's like the only living relative, but he's like a nephew of the person with all the money. So he's like, you know, he's not like a son or daughter who's like guaranteed to get the money, but he is their only living relative. So then that kind of comes clearer. And so ultimately she wants to be part of that world. And why she's trying to join is because her, the auntie of her husband, she's in a coma.
Okay.
So they've obviously, she's not a bad person, but they've found out, like, she's in a coma. You're her only living relative. You're going to inherit her millions. So, like, why don't we start living up? Because we're going to be wealthy. So they go to the club where she's a part of. They want to be part of it. He quits his job as a pilot. They start living in her mansion, and she's trying to, like, socialize with these wealthy people because they're like, we're going to be rich soon. But it's starting to become clearer that that's probably not the case, that, you know, this lady that's in a coma, you know, is actually, like, her money is being tied up and promised to someone else. And the reason, and now the mystery that comes into it now is, why is she in a coma? They don't mention it. They just said she's in a coma because she had like an aneurysm or something. But now they've discovered this gun in a lockbox, and they've realized that one of her guns is missing. And then another character broke into the house and stole something that she said it had a secret that she couldn't let get out to the world. So the mystery is now forming around, why is this person in a coma? Where I thought the show was just about this lady wanting to be rich. and fit in with these socialites, and she's just biding her time, waiting for her auntie to die so she can inherit the money. But now there's more to it. So yeah, it's cool. It's got like a lot of elements to it. So I think there's something sinister about how she got into a coma, and then they've now started they've realized that he isn't going to inherit the money. She actually put in her will that she wants it to go to a cat nursery or cattery because she's obsessed with cats.
Okay.
But whilst they're her carer and she's alive, they can access her house and use her money because they're her carers. So they don't want her to die. They essentially want to keep her in a coma for as long as they can. Because if she wakes up, she's going to say, get out of my house. But if she dies, they're going to get kicked out. So they need to keep her alive for as long as they can.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's that. Plus now there's something suspicious about her and the coma. And the last episode I watched, she started to talk. Like she was blinking a few episodes ago, but she like murmured out a word, and she murmured out revolver. So it ties in with this gun.
Okay.
And then Ricky Martin's in it, and he's like he is the bar. He's a barman at this like fancy club, but he lives in the lady in a coma's mansion because he's like her helper, and we don't know if he's like her like young lover or something. So he lives in the house, and yeah, so he's got her best interest at heart, and he's trying to protect her from other people who are trying to leech off her money. So it's good. I actually think it's quite a good show.
Okay.
So tell me a bit about Dark Matter.
Okay, so Dark Matter is basically it's off of a book. So I don't know if it's faithful to the faithful from the book, but basically what's happened is that Jason is actually played by Josh Edgerton, who is Australian. So basically the concept is that he's playing Jason, who is a uni professor who teaches science. And the main thing that happens is that he teaches this thing to do with bless you.
Thank you.
To do with like science at anatomy, when it's like I forgot the word they use, but basically you're in the same bless you again. Basically it's the same. You're not dead or alive. This is very important because basically me and Mum were kind of like, what's going to happen to him? Like it's leading to, and then something does happen to him. He gets kidnapped by someone with a mask, and then this person with the masks ejects him, and then basically he's gone to a different like place, and then you work out that the person with the mask was actually a different version of himself, Jason. So basically the second Jason is taking over his life, and so that's basically what's kind of happened. So there's different versions, and how the show does it is that you hear like this clicking noise, and then when that happens, it's swapped from the first world to the second world. And
so as a scientist, he's worked out how to like travel between multiverses. Is that it?
The second Jason,
yeah. So like the first Jason is trying to work out how to travel through multiverses, but the second Jason has already done that and then came to his multiverse.
The Jason we're introduced from is basically a science teacher. He explains it to the students and the audience, and then someone kidnaps him, and then we realize it's the second Jason.
So the other Jason is obviously smarter, and he's cracked the code of how to do this like multiversal travel and alternate reality. Okay, sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I think I will watch it. I think that's kind of up my alley because it's like science fiction, but obviously like thinking, and it's like kind of out there.
Yeah,
and it seems like it's quite like a gripping mystery as well. So yeah, I think that kind of fits in the category of like a mystery or something that's going to grip me to like what happens. It's not, it's not drama. It's a mystery.
Yes, very much a mystery, and at the end of each episode something happens.
Okay.
Yes. So episode 3 comes out on Wednesday.
Okay. I think I'll have to catch up on that. So I'll finish watching Palm Royale, and I think I'll watch that before Sugar.
Okay.
I think I'm more interested in that than Sugar.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
Oh, I think it's more of my interest than Sugar. The way you've described it, like I was very interested in it, and then I've seen a few trailers of it, and then you've talked about it. I'm like, I do want to see it, but I don't think it's quite like top of the list of things I want to see.
Mm.
Okay.
How's your movie list going? What movies are you getting close to your objective?
So I wanted to see 100. I'm at, I think, like 39 or something now. There's obviously a lot coming out the cinemas soon.
Yeah.
So I've got about 6 or 7 saved on my iPad that I'm going to watch when I go on holidays soon, like, you know, on the planes and stuff. So that will, I'm hoping to get through like 7 or 8 that way. There's a few that are about to come out at the cinemas. Like I'd like to see Planet of the Apes, and then we've obviously like Deadpool and other things coming out soon. I'll probably go see Fly Me to the Moon with Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum. So there's heaps of, there's probably 10 to 15 cinema movies that are going to come out this year that I want to watch. Maybe another 5 that I'll just go see because, but I think the rest, and then there's, so that put like another 20 on the list. As I said, there's about 7 to 10 that are out at the moment that I haven't seen yet. So then that adds 30. And then I'll just have to, there'll be more and more like straight to streaming films that will come out through there. So I'll get there. We're just finished. We're into the 5th month of the year. So to be on track, I'd probably need to be about maybe like 42 films. But there's a lot more coming out. So the first little half of the year's been quiet. So.
And what movies do you want to watch on the plane?
I want to see Baghead, horror film. I want to see Immaculate. I still haven't seen. I'd like to watch Civil War.
Monkey Man.
Seen that already. There's a Denzel. No, there's a
Samuel L. Jackson movie.
Samuel Jackson movie I saved that I want to watch. Yeah, there's quite a few. So, and then there's going to be more that come out. I saw a Robert De Niro film on Amazon Prime, I think, came out yesterday. I wouldn't mind watching. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff. Okay, so we're near the hour mark. We've done our battle. We've talked about a few things. Any last topics before we wrap it up?
Do you see yourself watching any shows besides Fallout this year, or just focusing on your movie goal?
Oh, I will see some shows. I just don't have any that come to mind. I'll just be more, well, I'll watch that next. I do have a few shows that I'm like halfway through that I need to finish off. So, yeah, I'll probably watch like 5 or 6 more shows this year. But movies are kind of the thing I'm going to focus on. I committed to seeing 100 films, so I'll see how close I can get to it. If I hit 100 films, with 2 months left in the year or something, then obviously I'll move on to shows.
I guess for myself, for my goal for this year is to get to about 50 TV shows. I think that's about right because TV shows go for a lot longer than movies, so that's kind of my goal.
How many you got now?
I would have to get my book by, I believe, around 28 or 29.
Still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we can hit our goal by the end of the year.
Yeah. As always, thank you for watching and see you in the next live stream. If you want us to talk about any live streams in particular, see you then. Bye-bye. Bye.